Hey guys, how y'all doing? Welcome back to another episode of Building Hogwarts. Now, since last week's video, I've gotten a decent amount done, and it's primarily on what you can see in front of me. Now, so far what I've been working on is extending the central tower and a little bit of what goes on back there, which I'll show you in a moment. Now, what I'm focusing on here with these two floors, which you can see are really just temporarily placed here, is figuring out how much detail I want to put into the central tower, because it is quite a big building, and I'm conscious that I don't have a ton of pieces to put into the detail work. And I'm wondering if this is a building that requires it, or if those more intricate pieces are better worth being used somewhere else. So really experimenting with how simple I can go so far. This floor here, I'm actually quite satisfied with just leaving it fully bricked. And there's absolutely no design to it at all. It is just a box. But like I said, I'm happy with that because of how the roofs go straight into that building. It's not something that you focus on. Now, this building is on a 16 by 16 plate, which is what I intended it to be. And the reason for that is just I've got a lot of them and it's very easy to build up high. So far, what I've got is this floor is just a little experimental sort of room of requirement. If you can sort of see there, I've used the set as a basis here, just sort of putting a fireplace in and that sort of arched ceiling that you see in the movies. Now that just places right there, and I think that's quite cool as a place for the room of requirement because, well, it's nicely hidden. And then this is the next floor. Now these are all inspired by the general shaping, so once it goes above the roof line, it gets a little bit more intricate and it cuts in a bit. And then right above there, these actually turn from being squared off to being a little bit more circular like these. So we'll definitely experiment with that. In the rest of the video, I'm going to work on refining this detail work in the shape, maybe figuring out what will go in the inside and definitely extending the height of it as well. I'll just take you around to the side and I'll show you this building here, which I did cover slightly in the last week's episode. This is the Astronomy Tower. Now, it was originally also a 16 by 16 building, just like the Central Tower, but I took a look at some footage from the movies and Hogwarts Legacy and such, and figured out that it's actually got a really cool curved wall on the sides. And this is where I am going ahead and using the sort of illegal bending technique that I talked about last week. I did say that for the central tower that you can see here that I wasn't going to do it because of its size, but I thought because of how big the Astronomy Tower is, this will be a really, really nice feature. Now, I did experiment with doing a 1x3 brick instead. However, it's just slightly too large to bend it into this space, so we're going with the 1x2 instead. And very simple detailing so far. This, similar to this building, is one of those structures that is very tall and doesn't have a lot of intricate detailing because of its height. So you're not really looking at this bit, you're looking at more towards the spire of it, where it gets really interesting and you can see a lot of turrets. But this building does connect in with the central tower. The interiors are all completely empty at the moment. As you can see, this curved wall is currently being supported by just a few plates and tiles down there. And this hallway that connects them up, you can sort of see, and I showed you this last week, and it goes across. I'm thinking that this middle section right here will be some sort of a balcony, but we'll see how I might create some access to it. But anyhow, that's what I've done so far, and we're going to pause the video here and get back to you once I've got a little bit more progress on what's going on here. But I hope you enjoy the video. So what I've got in front of me here is a little bit of prototyping of what the next floor of the central tower might look like, what would go just above that floor right there. In my head, I'm thinking that this could potentially be the Gryffindor common room. I'd quite like the shaping of it. I could imagine a hearth around one of the walls with some red sofas. I think it looked quite cool. Now, isolated, I quite like how this floor turned out, but when I placed it above the other floor, I'm not sure it gels together very well, and I think that's mainly because of how thin the corner columns of this floor is, and then it gets so much larger. It looks oddly disproportionate, and it might also be that there's two windows on this floor and then one there. I think I need to unify it. That's something that I'd appreciate if you'd go down in the comments and let me know which you think is better. If you like the more intricate styling of this floor, or if you like this floor more, and that will help me decide which I continue to sort of give the entire aesthetic of that. Oh, I will show you, I have developed a few little spires that go on the corners there. I'll cut the video and jump to that. So these are just a few different examples of what I was talking about capping off the spires of this building. It's a very iconic look. Each of the four corners has its own mini spire, if you will, and then there's the main roof, which extends quite a lot higher. Now, in front of me right here, I have another sort of prototype of what that roof would look like. You can see it's all just made of, well, dark gray plates with some wedges on the side. This is for the side. I was thinking of having it open back. I think I said that in last week's video about potentially seeing in from the back of all these buildings. So this would go here, and then, you know, there would be three more. But I might just finish it all the way around. I'm not sure. But as for right now, that would sort of fit very conveniently in that gap. You can sort of see what it looks like. And you can see how high the roof would be. I think it needs to be taller, but we're getting there. This is currently balancing on hopes and dreams, but perhaps it's giving you a better idea of what this roof might look like. It needs to be a lot steeper. I think it's looking a bit flat for how big the building is, and I think the overall tower should be a lot taller as well. So we're probably not going to touch that floor at the top. I'm quite liking the design. We're going to extend the height of that roof, and we're also going to enlarge this middle section, and we'll see how that turns out. But for right now, I'm going to focus a little bit more on the astronomy tower, because I want to work these two buildings in tandem to really see how tall I need to make them. Because what I don't want to do is make this building too tall. And then because the astronomy tower needs to be bigger than this building, I'm having to make that excessively tall, and then that one starts looking awkward. So we're going to be working them in tandem, and we'll see how that goes. Let's jump to the astronomy tower. Right, so here's a quick look at the progress that I've been able to get done on the astronomy tower. Unfortunately, this stage of the building process is a little bit slow and repetitive. That was the height that we were at in the last clip, and I've added about 10 rows of bricks since then. And then what you can see right now, I'm aiming to double in height, so it's matching the central tower. And then on top of that, then we'll start seeing the more interesting bits of the astronomy tower. I did want to talk a little bit about the pieces that I use for Hogwarts. That was a question that came up in the last video. It was asking, where do I get my pieces from? Is it mostly from official Lego sets, or is it from Bricklink? And to be honest, it's a little bit of a mix of both. These are all my bulk pieces, and for the majority, I source these from Bricklink and from pick-a-brick walls and stuff like that. So I've accumulated lots of well, just a lot of bricks that you need to build up Hogwarts. But when it comes to the more intricate details, these are all the previous sets that I have. I have quite a lot of the old Harry Potter sets, so I've been using those for a lot of the spires and the curved walls and the stickered bricks, so they do come very much in useful. This is an old set that I currently have bagged up, and you can see tons and tons of pieces that I can use to make these more interesting details that you see here that you can't really find on pick-a-brick walls, like that clock. But yeah. So if you are looking to build your own Hogwarts, the sets are a great place to start. But I think what you'll find is that there's a certain lack of the main pieces, the just standard bricks that you'll need a lot of, like this one here. And believe me when I say this, you need a ton of 1x1 bricks. Well, in any case, that's the end of the video. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed what we covered this week. Please stay tuned to next week's video, and I'll see you then. Bye.